Tuesday's story time. So, we got our first Rafale. Yay, great. The next time, Wing Commander Abhinandan need not chase a modern, well-equipped F-16 in an outdated, antiqued M21. The next time there is a dogfight, Wing Commander Abhinandan will be in a Rafale. Good, great. But today, I would like to tell you about another similar dogfight that happened years and years ago. The year was 1965, First Indo-Pak War, and Wing Commander Om Prakash Taneja was at the Adampur Air Force Base near Jalandhar. At Adampur, Wing Commander Taneja was in a lot of tension. He was pacing up and down, pacing up and down, pacing up and down. The reason for the tension? Pakistan had just bombed the Pathankot Air Force Base. And even before they could make sense of the situation, right there, right in front of Wing Commander Taneja's eyes, Pakistan aeroplane came once again and bombed the runway of the Adampur Air Force Base. So two Air Force bases, both Pathankot and Adampur had been partially destroyed. It was absolutely no surprise to anybody when later Ayub Khan, General Ayub Khan, announced over Pakistani radio that Pakistan was at war with India. Now India had to strike back and strike back ASAP. So Wing Commander Taneja immediately drew up a mission. The plan was to enter Pakistani airspace and attack Sargodha, the Pakistani Air Force base. The problem was Sargodha was 100 kilometers into Pakistan. Unlike Pathankot or Adampur, which is close to the border, Sargodha was 100 kilometers into Pakistan and was hence considered impregnable. Wing Commander Taneja immediately drew up a list of extremely daring, extremely brave pilots. Pilots who had excelled throughout their careers. He drew up a list and he started circling the names of the pilots he would choose for this mission to destroy Sargodha. One such name that he circled was Squadron Leader Devia from Karnataka. Squadron Leader Devia was at that time in Bidar. He immediately received a message to report to Adampur ASAP, which he did. As soon as he reached Adampur, all the pilots were told that the very next morning they would take off at 4:40 a.m. and would enter Pakistani airspace and would bomb Sargodha. So the mission details were given to them. On that last night, Squadron Leader Devia shared the tent with Flight Lieutenant Philip Rajkumar. Philip Rajkumar remembers Devia very well, and according to Philip Rajkumar, Squadron Leader Devia's last words were, "Bloody bastards, I will teach them a lesson tomorrow." That's what Philip Rajkumar remembers Devia as saying. So the next day, from the half-destroyed Adampur runway, one after the other, one after the other, one after the other, Indian Air Force planes took off on the mission to destroy Sargodha. Mission accomplished, one after the other, one after the other, one after the other, they landed back. Flight Lieutenant Philip Rajkumar also landed back safely, though he had only 3 minutes of fuel left. As soon as he got off the cockpit, the first question he asked was, "Has everybody come?" They said, "Everybody has come except Squadron Leader Devia." Squadron Leader Devia entered the Pakistani airspace and he went towards Sargodha. By that time, Sargodha had been alerted and most of the Pakistani Air Force pilots were in their, combat aircraft trying to stop the Indians. Squadron Leader Devia was engaged in one such dogfight with Amjad Hussain. The thing was, Amjad Hussain had an F-104 starfighter, whereas Squadron Leader Devia was in a Mysteer 4A. The Mysteer 4A speed was 500 kilometers per hour. The F-104 flew at 2000. The F-104 had side wing firing. The Mysteer 4A did not. The F-104 could duck many radars. The Mysteer 4A could not. But then, the fight was not between the Mysteer 4A and the F-104. The fight was between Squadron Leader Devia and Amjad Hussain. It was not a fight Devia was willing to lose. So despite the fact that he was severely disadvantaged in an outdated aircraft, he pressed on, and of course, the Pakistani officer knew that, it was, what is the proverbial saying, an ambassador chasing a Ferrari. So, but he pressed on, and eventually they destroyed each other's aircrafts. With his 30mm gun, he aimed straight at Amjad Hussain's cockpit and destroyed it, forcing Amjad Hussain to parachute out. Devia also had the opportunity to parachute out, but he chose not to. Instead, he piloted his burning aircraft as close to Sargodha as possible. Of course, as all the pilots returned to Adhampur, Wing Commander Om Prakash Taneja realized that only one person is missing, Squadron Leader Devia. He said, "We have to launch a search and rescue immediately. I am not leaving one of my men in the Pakistani territory." But then the other Air Force pilots who had seen this told him, "No, sir, his plane just burnt and we did not see him parachute out." So with tears in his eyes, Wing Commander Taneja put it down as missing in action. Much later, 6 years later, the 1971 war happened. And guess what? Amongst the thousands and thousands of prisoners of war was Amjad Hussain. He was a POW in India. He knew what had happened to Devia, but nobody interrogated anybody. We fed all the prisoners of war good food, we gave them good clothes, we treated them with love and respect and compassion and sent them all away back to Pakistan happily. The truth came out 2 decades later when a British journalist was writing a book on Indo-Pak relations. He interviewed Amjad Hussain, who had by then become the Air Marshal and retired. He described this whole fight and he said, "I can never forget that IAF pilot. He was in an aircraft that was no match to mine, but he wouldn't give up and I can never forget him." Putting 2 and 2 together, the Defense Ministry then realized that the man Amjad Hussain is talking about is Squadron Leader Devia from Karnataka. The missing in action was changed to martyrdom and he was given the Mahavir Chakra decades and decades after his supreme sacrifice. That, my friends, is the story of Squadron Leader Devia. My Kendriya Vidyalaya classmates will remember, we had a lesson on Paramveer Chakra Arun Khetrapal, and at the end of the lesson there was a small sentence. It said, "Want to do something for a soldier? Be a citizen worth fighting for." So let us all remember that. Want to do something for a soldier? Be a citizen worth fighting for. Squadron Leader Devia received the Mahavir Chakra. This book is in Kannada. Once it's translated to English, I will post one copy to all of you. And I'll narrate 2 or 3 more stories from this book next week. Okay? In memory of Squadron Leader Devia. Bye-bye.